Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something, well, a little different. We are taking a deep linguistic dive into some highly functional, really essential English phrases.
That is exactly right. Our focus today is very specific. It's for the A2 level learner. We want you to imagine you're traveling and you need to communicate clearly and confidently at a hotel.
Exactly. And the material we're looking at, it comes from a structured English lesson. We're going to use that as our foundation to practice listening comprehension and, maybe most importantly, pronunciation.
And because of that, because we're aiming for A2 comprehension, we want to be very clear about how we're going to approach this. Our pace will be slow, very deliberate.
Yes, we're going to avoid any fast slang or, casual jokes. The goal is to be calm and articulate. We're here to guide you, the listener, through the grammar, the vocabulary, and the context of every single key phrase.
We want you to understand not just what the words mean, but why they're structured the way they are. We're going to look at two key scenarios.
What are they?
First, the check-in process, arriving at the reception desk. And second, something a little trickier. How to politely report a problem you might have with your room.
And for those, we'll act out the dialogue parts. We'll do it very slowly, very clearly, and then we'll pause to really break down the language being used.
Think of this as your guide to getting comfortable with the English you need for travel, moving from just recognizing the words to actually using them with confidence.
So let's begin this linguistic exploration. Scene 1, checking in at the reception desk. Okay, so this first interaction, it really does set the tone for your whole stay at a hotel. It all starts with the greeting.
And your initial request. The focus here, right from the start, has to be on clarity and politeness.
Absolutely. So let's listen to how this first exchange sounds. I'll be the receptionist.
And I'll be the guest, host speaker, as receptionist slowly and clearly. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the Grand City Hotel. How can I help you today? Expert speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Hello, I have a reservation. It is under the name Miller.
Okay, let's pause right there and analyze what we just heard. The receptionist begins with a really crucial phrase.
How can I help you today? It's so standard, but it's more than just a greeting. It's a commitment to service. Everyone recognizes it as polite.
And I think that word today is important. It feels more attentive than just, how can I help you? It makes the service feel current right now.
It does. And for you, the A2 learner, mastering this full question is so much more valuable than trying to invent your own. Let's just practice saying it slowly.
How can I help you today?
Now, for the guest's response, the most important part is I have a reservation.
Right. The verb have here means you possess or you hold a confirmed booking. And reservation is, it's the more formal preferred word over just booking.
And we should spend a moment on the pronunciation of reservation. It's a longer word, but the rhythm is predictable.
Reservation. The stress is really on that third syllable, the VA.
Let's all say it together, focusing on that clear V sound. I have a reservation.
Perfect. Then the guest gives the specific detail needed to find that reservation. It is under the name Miller.
That little phrase, under the name, it's standard hotel language. You could say the name is Miller, and that's okay.
But it's not quite as precise. It is under the name signals to the staff exactly what to look for in their computer system.
It's all about using the right register, the right level of formality. So the takeaway is always state that you have a reservation and then say the name it's under.
Okay, so after that, the receptionist needs to check the system and verify the information.
Yes, and listen closely to the language they use for this confirmation step. Host speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly. Let me check the system. Yes, Mr. Miller. I see a single room for 3 nights. Is that correct? Expert speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Yes, that is correct.
So the receptionist is confirming 2 key things there.
The room type and the length of the stay.
Let's break that down. A single room. That means a room for one person. If you were with someone else, you might hear what?
You'd probably hear double room for 1 large bed, or maybe a twin room for 2 separate beds.
And then the duration, the length of the stay. 3 nights.
Using the word nights is very specific to accommodation. It's important not to confuse it with days.
Why is that?
Well, a 3-day stay could mean you leave on the 3rd day, but 3 nights is very clear. It means you will stay until the morning of the 4th day.
That makes sense. And then there's that simple but very important closing question. Is that correct?
It's the polite, professional way to ask for confirmation. You could say it's that right, but correct sounds a bit more formal, a bit more elevated.
And the guest's reply is a model of clarity. Yes, that is correct. Let's just listen to the word correct again.
Correct. It has two clear syllables, with the stress on the second one. For practice, really try to articulate that final T sound.
Let's try the full sentence. Yes, that is correct.
Excellent. So once the details are confirmed, the receptionist moves on to the next step, which is a legal requirement in many places.
Requesting identification. And the structure for this is another great example of polite English.
Let's hear it. Host speaker. As receptionist, slowly and clearly. Great. Could I please have your passport for identification? Expert speaker. As guest, slowly and clearly. Of course. Here you go.
Okay, we have to spend some time on that request. Could I please have...
It sounds a bit complex, but it's a very common polite structure. English politeness often uses these modal verbs, like could or may, along with a word like please, to soften a request.
Right, because if the receptionist just said, give me your passport, it would
A
sound...
little aggressive, a bit demanding. Grammatically, it's fine, but in a service environment, it's just not right.
So by using could I please have, they're making it sound like a choice, even though, you have to provide the document.
And that's a huge insight for A2 learners. When you're making a request, try to use a structure like could I or may I.
The specific document requested here is a passport, but the script also introduces a broader term.
Yes, identification. This is so important because depending on the country, they might accept an ID card or a driver's license. Identification is the formal noun that covers all of those things.
And it's a challenging word. It's quite long. Let's break down the pronunciation.
Identify. C-A-ation. It has 6 syllables.
With the main stress falling on that CA syllable, let's say it very slowly.
Identification.
And finally, when the guest actually hands over the passport, they use a simple, polite phrase.
Of course. Here you go. Of course shows you're happy to comply.
And here you go is the standard phrase you use when you physically give an item to someone. It's a great one to learn.
We should probably distinguish it from here it is. Both are fine, really.
But here you go sort of implies the action of giving, making it a bit more dynamic. It's a very safe, useful phrase. Let's see it clearly.
Here you go.
Okay, so once the main check-in steps are done, the confirmation, the identification, the conversation often shifts.
Yes. This is when the guest might ask about the hotel's services, or what we call amenities. Let's listen to how you can ask about breakfast.
This is a really important structure because it shows you how to ask if a service is already paid for. Expert speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Thank you, I have one question. Is breakfast included in the price? Host speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly. Yes, it is. Our breakfast is served from 7:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m. in the main restaurant.
All right, the key structure there from the guest is breakfast included in the price?
And that phrase, included in the price, is the one you need. It's the technical way of asking if something is part of the cost of the room.
And it's so useful because it's adaptable. You can change the word breakfast for something else.
Exactly. You could ask, is parking included in the price? Or maybe, is the Wi-Fi included in the price? Learning this one phrase helps you ask about many different services.
Now, the receptionist's answer is really well structured. It has 2 parts.
First, a simple direct confirmation. Yes, it is. It mirrors the grammar of the question, which is very clear. And then the second part gives the specific details, the time and the location.
Right. And with times and locations, clear pronunciation is everything, especially with numbers. So breakfast is served from 7:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m.
That phrase, is served, is in the passive voice. That's very common when describing regular hotel services.
And the location is in the main restaurant, meaning the primary dining area. Let's just focus on the word served for a moment.
You want to make sure you pronounce that V and the final did sound clearly. It's not serve, it's served.
And notice the prepositions. You say breakfast is at 7:00 a.m., but it is from 7:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m. That shows the duration.
Let's try that whole sentence slowly, focusing on those little words. Served from 7:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m. in the main restaurant.
Perfect. Now, let's move on to probably the most essential modern amenity.
Internet access. Wi-Fi. This is usually a quick exchange, but the words you use have to be precise.
Let's hear the dialogue, but this time I'll be the receptionist and you'll be the guest. Host speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Perfect. And what is the Wi-Fi password? Expert speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly. It is written on your key card holder. The network name is Grand Guest. Here is your key card. Your room is number 305.
Okay, so the guest asks for the Wi-Fi password. That's a term everyone needs to know.
Yes, and the related term is network name. For you as a learner, it's best to think of these as single vocabulary items. The network name is the Wi-Fi signal you choose, and the password is the code you enter.
And the receptionist explains where to find this information. It is written on your key card holder.
This introduces a very specific object, the key card holder. It's that little paper or cardboard sleeve that your room key comes in.
And it often has important information printed on it, like the Wi-Fi password or the restaurant times.
Right, so it's good to know what that object is called. Let's practice that term, key card holder.
3 separate words spoken clearly. And with that, the check-in is basically over. The receptionist gives the final items.
Here is your key card. Your room is number 3-5. And when we say room numbers, we say each number individually and clearly to avoid confusion.
3, 0, 5.
It's worth noting that many native speakers might say "oh" instead of 0. But for maximum clarity, especially as a learner, using the word 0 is probably safer.
The whole exchange ends with a simple, polite closing. Thank you very much.
Yes. And before we move to our next scene, it's good to just quickly review the logical flow of that whole conversation. It follows a clear sequence.
It does. It goes reservation, then identification, then questions about amenities.
And then finally you get the room key and the number. Each step builds on the one before it.
Okay, now we're going to shift to a different scenario. This is one that can cause a bit of anxiety for language learners.
Yes. Reporting a problem, a
Yeah.
complaint. The goal here is to be very clear and specific, but to always remain polite.
This is all about the language of conflict resolution, but in a very low-stakes way.
So imagine you're in your room. You pick up the phone to call the reception. The first thing is to establish who you are and where you are.
Let's listen. I'll be the guest this time. Excerpt speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly. Front desk, speaking, how can I help you? Host speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Hello, this is room 305. I have a small problem with my room.
Okay, let's stop there. The receptionist answers with front desk, speaking. That's a very standard, professional way to confirm you've reached the right place.
And then the guest's first sentence is absolutely essential. This is room 305.
You have to state your room number immediately. If you don't, the very next thing the staff will say is, what is your room number? So this just saves time.
And then comes this really crucial piece of softening language. I have a small problem with my room. Why use the word small?
It's a strategic choice. It manages the tone of the conversation right from the start. By saying the problem is small, you're signaling that you're not angry, you're not making a huge demand.
Even if the problem feels big to you, like a broken air conditioner on a hot day.
Exactly. Describing it as a small problem or a minor issue is a linguistic tactic to encourage cooperation from the staff. It's very effective.
Let's practice that whole phrase slowly. I have a small problem with my room.
Now, the receptionist has to respond with empathy and then ask for more details.
Listen carefully to how they acknowledge the problem. Expert speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly. I am sorry to hear that, sir. What seems to be the issue? Host speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. The air conditioner is not working. I tried to turn it on, but it is not blowing cold air. It is very hot in here.
Okay, so the receptionist first says, I'm sorry to hear that. This is a standard empathetic phrase. It shows they're listening to your negative experience.
It's polite, but it's not an admission of fault. It's just, good customer service language.
And then they ask, what seems to be the issue? The word issue is a slightly more formal synonym for problem. It sounds a little less dramatic.
Let's focus on pronouncing issue. The C's here makes a she sound.
I-S-E-G-U. Let's repeat that. Issue.
Okay, now we get to the most important part of the complaint. The guest uses an absolutely essential phrase to describe the broken machine.
The air conditioner is not working.
That structure, the machine plus is not working, is the simplest, clearest, and most common way to report that something is broken.
And notice the tense. It's the present continuous, is not working. We use that here to describe an ongoing failure. The machine failed before, it is failing now, and it will continue to fail.
And you can use this for almost anything in a room. The television is not working. The shower is not working.
Let's practice that key sentence. The air conditioner is not working.
Now, the guest is very effective here because they don't just stop there. They add more specific details.
Yes, I tried to turn it on, but it is not blowing cold air. That extra information is so helpful for the staff. It tells them the machine has electricity, but the main function, the cooling, has failed.
Let's focus on those descriptive words. Blowing cold air. Make sure you pronounce the B in blowing and the final D in cold.
Blowing cold air.
And finally, the guest does one more very smart thing. They explain the consequence. They explain why this problem is important.
It is very hot in here. Using a simple adjective like hot makes the severity of the situation clear. If the light was broken, you might say.
It is very dark in here. You state the consequence to motivate a fast solution.
So that three-part structure is the key. General problem. It's not working. Specific detail. It's not blowing cold air. And consequence. It's very hot.
If you follow that structure, you will make a very clear, polite, and effective complaint in English.
All right, so after the guest has clearly explained the problem, the hotel staff have to respond. They need to apologize formally and then propose a solution.
And this section introduces some very high-level, very formal language. This is great for learners to hear.
Let's listen to the formal apology from the receptionist and then the guest's polite acceptance. Expert speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly, I apologize for the inconvenience. Would you like me to send a technician to fix it? Host speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Yes, please. That would be great.
Okay, that first line from the receptionist is so important. I apologize for the inconvenience.
This is a much stronger, much more professional apology than just saying, I am sorry.
And the key word there is inconvenience. What exactly does that mean?
It means a trouble or a difficulty that disturbs your comfort. It's the perfect word for a situation where the hotel has caused a problem for a guest.
It is a long word, though. It needs some deliberate practice. Let's break it down.
Inconvenience. The main stress is on that third syllable, V-E-N.
Let's try the whole apology, focusing on that word. I apologize for the inconvenience.
And right after the apology, the solution is proposed. Would you like me to send a technician to fix it?
And again, notice the polite question structure. Would you like me to? It gives the guest a sense of control.
And let's look at the vocabulary. A technician is a person who repairs machines.
And the verb to fix simply means to repair. Both are very useful words to know.
The guest's acceptance is also a model of politeness. Yes, please. That would be great.
Saying that would be great is a really nice touch. It expresses thanks and shows you're happy with the plan. It's much warmer than just saying yes.
Right. And now the receptionist does one last thing. They provide what we call a contingency plan.
This is what to do if the first plan fails. This is really excellent customer service language. Expert speaker, as receptionist, slowly and slowly. Of course, someone will be there in 5 minutes. If we cannot fix it, we will move you to a new room. Host speaker, as guest, slowly and clearly. Thank you for your help. Expert speaker, as receptionist, slowly and clearly.
No problem, Mr. Miller. Sorry again for the trouble.
Okay, so the receptionist first sets a time expectation. Someone will be there in 5 minutes. This is really good because it lets the guests know how long they have to wait.
And then comes the contingency plan, using conditional language.
Yeah.
If we cannot fix it, we will move you to a new room.
This is the classic if-then structure in English. The condition is, if we cannot fix it.
And the result is, we will move you to a new room. Understanding this structure is so important at the A2 level. It shows that the hotel is thinking ahead. They have a backup plan ready.
The conversation then closes with a slightly less formal apology. Sorry again for the trouble.
This shows us that the word trouble can be used as a more casual synonym for problem or inconvenience. Using it here at the end makes the closing feel a little more personal.
And the guest's final line, thank you for your help, is the perfect, polite way to end the conversation and confirm that a solution is on its way.
And with that, we have completed our deep dive, phrase by phrase, into some really functional hotel English.
We really did. We covered the 2 most important communication events, checking in and reporting a problem.
Let's just quickly review the main linguistic takeaways. We learned about using formal conditional language like, could I please have, when you're making a request.
And we covered the essential check-in vocabulary, words like reservation, identification, and keycard holder.
And crucially, you've now mastered that 3-part structure for making a polite complaint.
Right. Stating your room number first, using that softening language like, I have a small problem, and then using that universal phrase for a broken machine.
The item is not working.
Exactly. You also learn the difference between a simple, I'm sorry, and the much more formal, I apologize for the inconvenience.
And you saw how an if-then conditional sentence can be used to manage a situation and offer a backup plan.
For you, as an A2 level learner, the key to making this stick is repetition. It's all about practice. So we really encourage you to go back and listen to the dialogue parts of this deep dive again.
Yes, and as you listen, try to say the sentences out loud yourself. Try to match the slow, clear pace that we used.
And to really solidify your learning, we want to leave you with a final practical challenge for you to think about.
You learned how to report a broken air conditioner perfectly. Now, we want you to apply that exact same sequence of steps to a new situation, a new vocabulary word.
So imagine you get to your room and you find that you are missing something. Maybe there's no towel or no soap. How would you call the front desk and explain that?
You wouldn't use the phrase is not working because nothing is broken. It's just absent.
Instead, you might see something like a towel is missing, or perhaps I need another towel.
So your challenge is to take that new problem and plug it into the polite framework we learned today. Start with, this is room, and I have a small problem. Formulate your request clearly.
By practicing how to apply these structures to new problems, you ensure that the functional English you learned today will be ready for any real-world situation you might face on your travels. Good luck with your practice.